Welcome to the Tainted Tavern. Come sit inside for free.
Hello and welcome to the Tainted Tavern, and today I want to talk about an old LP record. And it's quite a remarkable LP record, and it still holds a record which we don't think will ever be broken. I've been digitizing a lot of old vinyl, making digital files, just so they're easier to access, so I can put them on a USB stick and listen to them in the car or whatever, you know. And I started digitizing, well, I've just done it actually, this album from 1975, and that is Max Boyce's We All Have Doctor's Papers. Now, the reason I said that this is a record-breaking album, and it still holds a record, is this was released in 1975. And it was actually the first ever comedy album to hit #1 in the UK album charts. And in fact, more than that, to this day, it remains the only comedy album to ever do that. In terms of albums in the album charts, this remains the one and only comedy album ever to top the United Kingdom album charts. Now, Max Boyce, he's a Welsh performer, he's a Welsh comedian, folk singer. He's had a massive career going all the way back since the early 70s, and he's still going strong now. His humour is very much Welsh working class type humour, largely with the emphasis on the Welsh obsession with rugby. A lot of Max's routines and comedy is built around the Welsh love of rugby. He started out on Opportunity Knocks, which unfortunately the episode of Opportunity Knocks in which Max appeared on has been wiped, believed lost from the archives. A bit of housekeeping. I'm drinking, as this is the Tainted Tavern. You want to know what I'm drinking? I'm drinking just a pale ale called Fruit Burst from Brewdog. And one of these ales with the fruity tropical flavours. It's alright, but nothing special. So Max started off on Opportunity Knocks. He didn't actually win the episode he was on. He came #2. He came second. And I've been trying to find out who it was that won that episode, and it's really difficult to find out because it's not documented and the episode doesn't exist. But Max often tells the story and claims he was beaten to the post by a singing dog, which is quite possible because Top of the Pops, Opportunity Knocks rather, which was kind of a precursor to shows like Britain's Got Talent and the X Factor, was notorious for having novelty acts on. The way it worked, there were two lights, so there was a green light and a red light. So artists were told when the green light lights up, they start their act, and when the red light comes on, they've got to end. It's similar, I suppose, to being buzzed off on Britain's Got Talent. But what Max Boyce cheekily did before he started his act was he unscrewed the red bulb. And it's believed he did two of his famous routines that day. He did the Outside Our Factory, which is a story about a factory hidden deep in the valleys where they produce outside half for Wales. And he also did Morgan the Moon. Morgan the Moon is an excellently written piece about a Welshman who travels to the moon.
Old man that lived in the Rhondda Valley a long time ago. And he started out from very humble beginnings as a pipe fitter in the local colliery. And, well, he studied hard at night school and was always inventing things until one morning he shook the whole scientific and technological world by being the first man to land on the moon.
Anyway, he came second, but he made him enough of an impact that he was contacted by EMI, and they offered him a contract, and he did a recording at Treorchy Rugby Club, which is only just up the road from me, and the album that was released as an album, a recording of his show called Live Treorchy. That's a brilliant album too. But this album, We All Have Doctor's Papers, I believe was his second album. And this was recorded at Pontedillas Rugby Club in 1975. There's no actual date on here, but it's got the very similar cover to most of Boyce's other albums in that the illustrations on here are provided by Gren, who was the cartoonist for the South Wales Echo, and he always does his little kind of cartoony characters. There's always a couple of sheep involved. It was part of Gren's trademark, and there's so much on this cover to take in. I mean, you can sit here for a couple of hours noticing little things on here. There's little bits of Welsh humour. It's just a wonderful package. Now, I listened to this today when I was digitising it, and this used to be a favourite album of mine. I've heard this many, many times over the years, but I listened to this today while I was digitising it, perhaps for the first time in more than 10 years, and it made me realise how fucking good Max Boyce was back in the day. The way he works the audience in this show is absolutely, he's a total professional. The album's not in print now, not being produced as a new album, but it was so successful, as I say, #1 in the album charts, that it's fairly easy to pick up a second-hand copy of this, and often a lot of the routines on here have been collected on best-of CDs and so forth, but an actual full show of this gig at the Pontedillas Rugby Club is the only way to really listen to it. This is fantastic. I'm going to put this by in my album collection. I've got a lot of other Max Boyce albums that I want to digitise, just listen to whenever the mood takes me, but this is an absolutely stunning, fantastic album. Now, prior to starting this little chat here with you, what I did is I downloaded the charts for 1975, the weekend in November the 1st, to show you how bananas the charts were that week. So at #1, as I said, we all had Doctor's Papers by Max Boyce, which at that point had spent 3 weeks on the chart and had originally come in at #3 if that had gone up to #1. #2 was 40 Golden Grapes by Jim Reeves. #3 was Favourites by Peters and Lee. Peters and Lee, I believe, were also on Opportunity Knocks, or it could have been New Faces. It was one of the talent shows. Then Elton John was at #5 with Rock of the Westies. Roxy Music at #6 with Siren. David Essex, All the Fun of the Fair at #7. #8 was Breakaway by Art Garfunkel. #9, The Very Best of Roger Whittaker. #10, Atlantic Crossing by Rod Stewart. That famously is the Rod Stewart album that features the song Sailing, and that had spent 4 weeks on the chart at that period. So, you know, Max Boyce was wiping out the rod. Number 11, we'll go up to the top 20. Number 11 was All Around My Heart by Celia Span. Number 12, Oh My Dawn, Mike Oldfield. Number 13, Wish You Were Here, Pink Floyd. Absolutely brilliant album, that one. Number 14, Good, Bad and Beautiful by Shirley Bassey. Number 15, Motown Gold, which was various artists. Number 16 was The Best of the Stylistics. Number 17 was Simon and Garfunkel's Greatest Hits. Number 18 was Blazing Bullets, again various artists. Number 19, Shaved Fish from John Lennon, which was a combination album of Lennon's hits up to that period. And good luck in getting a copy of that now, because it features the notorious track that the title of the track uses the N-word. That's all I'm going to say here. And number 20 was Down the Dustpipe by Status Quo. So that's basically the charts for that week that this was #1. I believe this stayed at #1 for a total of 2 weeks. So, you know, it's quite incredible to think that a comedy album could hit #1 in the UK album charts. But not only that, but a regional comedy album, a comedy album centered on a very specific type of humour, that is Welsh Valleys humour, could hit #1 on the album charts. It's an absolutely fantastic album. Max Boyce is a brilliant performer, and you'll be, if you're unaware of him, you're not sure who he is, just type Max Boyce into the search bar on YouTube, and there's loads of his routines, and some of his full albums are even on YouTube as uploads, so well worth checking out. Anyway, that's We All Had Doctor's Papers. Thanks for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment below if you like this album, if you're familiar with Max Boyce. Let's talk Max Boyce. And at the very least, please subscribe. It helps the channel go. Anyway, see you for now. Cheers. Yaki da. We all had Doctor's Papers.
Come back soon.